Hey guys, Kevin here from Relax and Learn Guitar. Thanks for joining me for another live lesson this week. And this week we're going to take on a question from a viewer. His name is Tim, so I'd like to thank Tim for writing in a question. Actually more of a concern than a question. And I get this a lot from folks. The concern is my fingers are too fat, basically, or stubby, or short, or long, or fill in the blank, to be able to play the guitar. So tonight I'm pretty much going to be saying that that is not true. Like 95% of the time it's not so much having the wrong fingers, but it's just learning how to accommodate for the type of hand and fingers that you have to limit the frustration that you're feeling so that you're able to keep moving forward and not getting discouraged and just quitting. And there's lots more information about playing the guitar, sticking with it. You can definitely check out relaxandlearnguitar.com if you haven't yet. There's loads of more free lessons there, some articles, resources you can use. So let's get into tonight's lesson. So again, I'm basically saying, Tim, it's not true. You probably don't have the wrong fingers or hands to play the guitar. I'm going to give a few tips, and I'm going to start with the first one being finding the right guitar. So you're going to have to go to a store or shop or whatever and check out some guitars when you're going to play the guitar. And you're going to want to pick up a guitar that's not like what your buddy thinks is cool or like what your favorite guitarist plays, because it might not be right for you. You're going to have to play some and check them out and see what feels right, because every guitar is different, every neck's different. And probably when it comes to fingers and hands, the biggest deal is the neck of the guitar. And there are three basic guitar shapes or neck shapes on a guitar, and they have to do with letters. There's a C, which is what this guitar is actually. So when you look at the guitar, it's kind of a C-shaped neck or low profile. You also have a U, which is going to be a little fatter and chunkier than this. Might be good for a big-handed person. And there's a V shape, which just kind of comes up further here in the middle, more pointed. And those are kind of the shapes you'll have to mess around with and pay attention to. And there's also, on the flip side of things, if you think, my hands are too small to play the guitar, or, my kid wants to learn how to play and I just think they're too little, there's some smaller size guitars out there. Ed Sheeran plays a Little Martin, like literally called a Little Martin, and pretty popular. And I have no affiliation with Martin guitars. But it's a 3/4 size guitar, and Fender makes a Squire, a mini Squire. My buddy actually bought one of those for his kid, and he plays it. I mean, I've played it when I've been over his house, and they're great little guitars for smaller hands, so that other side of the coin. So that's tip number one. Number two, which is really important, is how you're going to hold the guitar neck. And our inclination is maybe grabbing it like this, your thumbs wrapped around it like a baseball bat or like a shovel or something, some kind of tool. And that's not what you want to do. You want to actually, and it won't feel as natural starting out, but you'll get used to it as you learn where to play the strings. You want to have your thumb on the back of the neck like this. That's going to allow you to have your hand hang down some and be able to reach the strings. So it's not this kind of a shape, although like for more advanced players you can see them actually using their thumb to fret some strings, but for now you want to do this kind of a thing so you have the ability to have your fingers where they're going to be. So it's the way you hold it then comes into tip number three, which is that allows where your fingertips are going to go. So a couple things about fingertips. You're going to have to cut your fingernails. We've got a member in our community right now who's a manicurist, and they've cut their fingernails to play the guitar, and that is dedication, let me tell you. So you're going to have short fingernails when you play the guitar. You're going to want to pay attention to how curved your fingers are, so you can't be giving it this kind of thing. Your fingers are going to drag, they're going to mute, they're going to buzz. You want to have the thumb so you can raise up your fingers and press straight down in, like perpendicular, straight into the fretboard into the strings. And you're going to use just, the fingertip part to get where you need to go. So you've got the right guitar for you. You're holding it the correct way. You're curving your fingers using your fingertips. Now you're going to have to practice. So no two ways around it. And I drive my wife nuts because I do a lot of noodling on the guitar while we're watching TV. So just those simple exercises are going to get your fingers used to pressing down on the strings, and your brain's going to train your hand and your muscles where to go. And it might just be that your fingers aren't stretched out enough yet. And it doesn't come like that. It does take practice to get there. So if we take kind of the example of a D chord, where most people do pretty good is playing those individual notes. When it comes to a chord, then I've got to figure out how to press down on the strings and make the chord sound correctly. So if you take a D chord, you got your first finger here on your third string, second fret, your middle finger on the first string, second fret, and your ring finger on the second string, third fret. And that's the one that people might most often have issues with, because that finger wants to drag over and mute your first string. And it's a matter of paying attention where your thumb and your wrist are and moving it to where it sounds right. And you can take your strumming hand and move your fingers where they need to go. There's nothing wrong with that until you get used to where you're playing those and what they're supposed to sound like. And it's not just a D chord. You can apply that to any chord. It's going to take a little while, a little practice to get that right until it sounds good. So just remember a few things. There's no hard and fast rules. You have to experiment with your hands and your guitar and what's going to sound good. I don't care if you have big hands like Jerry Seinfeld's girlfriend. On that show, there's always one trait someone has, and her fingers, she's great and everything, but she's got big hands. I don't care if you got big hands or you got tiny little Christian Wig Saturday Night Live hands. You can play the guitar. The guitar was made for you to use your hands and play. Your brain's going to train things to go along as you're practicing and learning. Your finger exercises will go a long way. Being stretched out. And one thing I do is I still to this day have issues with kind of my pinky being strong enough, is just practicing that stretch of your index finger to 4 frets up or 3 more frets up for that pinky. That kind of thing. So, hope you found that helpful, and that's going to wrap up our lesson for tonight. Head over to relaxandlearnguitar.com, put in a /free lesson, and you can download your free lesson. It's on changing chords smoothly, so if you don't have that, definitely check it out. And keep the questions coming in the comments. I'd love to hear from you, and I'll see you for the next live lesson.